How y'all doing tonight? Having a pretty good Halloween week, I hope. So it's been a little bit since I did a grimoire and apocryphal series um, video, so I thought that we would do one tonight. And this time we're going to talk about the Key of Solomon. And this is one of the seals and another here. And now this is a bit of the actual key from the Internet Archive. Let me go through a few pages and check it out. I truly do love the Internet Archive. It is an incredibly useful resource. I highly recommend it. You can find all kinds of useful books that you might not ever see otherwise. Just a wonderful, library archive. And there we can see the Order of the Pentacles. Some information about that. As you can see down here, it's also sometimes called the Clavicula Solomonis. And it was by King Solomon of Israel, as you can see right there. The publication date for this particular book is 1889, and as you can see on this page, there's a couple of the different sigils. Like I said, quite a bit of information here. There's another sigil page. And you can truly just sort of flip through the book quite easily here. And here's some information: the publication date, topics, publisher, where it can be found, and all of that information. And then here, this is sacred texts. Clavicula Salomonis. And these are some of the contents of the books, the book 1, and the chapters and what they concern. This one I love: concerning the divine love which ought to precede the acquisition of this knowledge. The more you know. Knowledge is truly power, my friends. The Oracle of the Pentacles, which is under the plates. Then we have book 2. And then, of course, there are some appendices. So the Key of Solomon, also known as the Greater Key of Solomon, is a grimoire attributed to the King Solomon. And it dates back to around the 14th or 15th century from the Italian Renaissance. And it presents a typical example of Renaissance magic. It is possible that the Key of Solomon inspired later works, particularly the 17th century grimoire known as the Lesser Key of Solomon, which is kind of similar to the Grand Albert and Le Petit Albert in that way. That is also called the Le Megaton, although there are many differences between the two books, which is important to know. During the Renaissance, many grimoires, such as the one attributed to King Solomon, had become greatly influenced by earlier Jewish Theosophical Kabbalah and Muslim magicians. These in turn incorporated aspects of Greco-Roman magic of the late antiquities. Several versions of the Key of Solomon exist in various translations, with minor to significant differences. The original type of text was probably Latin or Italian, dating back to the 14th or 15th century. Most surviving manuscripts date from the 16th to 17th, or sometimes the 18th century even. And there is also an early Greek manuscript dating back to the 15th century, which is located in the British Library. It is also closely associated with the text. The Greek manuscript is referred to as the Magical Treatise of Solomon and was published by Armand de Lat in Anecdota and Athanasia. Its contents are very similar to the Clavicula. One of the pentacles found in the Key of Solomon manuscripts is identified as the Great Pentacle, and it appears in Bodleian Library at a 17th century manuscript. It is the equivalent figure, also appears in a Latin version from 1674. The figure is a variant of the Sigillum Amaleth, published by Athanasia Kircher in the Oedipus Egypticus. The Hebrew text survives in two versions. One is kept at the British Library on a parchment manuscript separated in the BL Orient MS 6360 and 14759. The BL manuscript was dated to the 16th century by its first editor, Greenup, in 1912. But it is now thought to be somewhat younger, dating back to the 17th or 18th century. The discovery of the second Hebrew text in the library of Samuel H. Gollancz was published by his son Herman Gollancz in 1903, who also published a facsimile edition in 1914. Gollantz's manuscript had been copied in Amsterdam in the Sephardic cursive Soletrio script and is less legible than the BL text. The Hebrew text is considered the original. It is rather a late Jewish adaptation of a Latin or Italian clavicula text. The BL manuscript is probably the archetype of the Hebrew translation, and Gollantz's manuscript a copy of the BL one. There is also a French edition titled La Véritable Magie Noire ou Le Secret des Secrets, The True Black Magic or The Secret of Secrets. It is kept at the Bibliothèque Nationale de France. It is a translation from Hebrew by Irogrego, dated in 1750. An English edition based on the manuscripts of the British Library was published by S.L. MacGregor in 1889, which was a version that I just showed you guys. And in 1914, the Greater Key of Solomon, directly based on Mather's edition, to which he made alterations, is an attempt to advertise his mail order business, for example, by inserting instructions like burning 1/2 teaspoon of temple incense along with ordering information for the incense. So he was using that as a marketing ploy in some. Now the book has an introduction, and according to the mythical history of the document as recorded in its introduction, Solomon wrote the book for his son Rehoboam and commanded him to hide the book in his sepulchre upon his death. After many years, the book was discovered by a group of Babylonian philosophers repairing Solomon's tomb. None could interpret the text until one of them, Iogravis, suggested that they should ask the Lord for understanding. The angel of Lord supposedly appeared to him and extracted a promise that he would keep the text hidden from the unworthy and the wicked, after which he was able to read it plainly. Iogravis then placed a spell on the book that the unworthy, the unwise, or those who did not fear God would not obtain the desired effect from the workings contained in the book. Book 1 contains conjurations, invocations, and curses to summon and constrain spirits of the dead and demons in order to compel them to do the operator's will. It also describes how to find stolen items, become invisible, gain favor and love, and so on and so on. Book 2 describes purifications, which the operator, termed exorcist, should undergo, how they should clothe themselves, how the magical implements used in their operation should be constructed, and what animal sacrifices should be made to the spirit. As far as cultural referencing, this book is mentioned in Goethe's Faust in a scene where the poodle transforms himself into the devil Mephistopheles, and it says, "For such as your half-hellish crew, the Key of Solomon will do." It is also mentioned in H.P. Lovecraft's supernatural horror literature, where Lovecraft says it illustrates the power of the weird over the Eastern mind. Along with Johannes Kepler's Astronomia Annova, the Key of Solomon is one of two real-world texts that the fictional character Dr. Stephen Strange returns to the Kamar-Taj Library in the Marvel Studios film Doctor Strange. In the scene, Kamar-Taj librarian, the current Marvel Cinematic Universal Sorcerer Supreme Wong reads the title Strange is Returning. It is The Book of the Invisible Sun, Astronomia Nova, Codex Imperium, Key of Solomon. You finished all of those? And that, my friends, is the Key of Solomon grimoire as it is discussed throughout history. I gave you guys some links that you can go and check out yourself if you're interested in learning more. As always, I am happy to share this information for you, and I will be back next time with another episode. Until then, I wish you guys a safe and happy Halloween week, and I hope you go and make lots of fun memories, trick and treating out there as you will. Have a great Monday night.